everyone to Board Game Breakdown. I am Kristofer Solomon here with another video, and today we are concentrating on looking at the solo mode for the White Castle. So this game is a dice placement game, if you want to call it that, where you're going to be placing these dice from these bridges out on the board, doing some actions. You've got some different types of workers to put out there. Really fun, strategic, fairly quick game. But before we go further in the video, if you do want to just take a look at our shorter burst version, please click this link here. It'll be about 3 minutes and just give you an overview of how the solo game works without the full how-to. But if you stay here to watch this video, then I'll go into a full setup, all the actions, and then play a full round of the gameplay on the last chapter if you want to take a look at how this game works. So like I said, it is a dice placement game. Unlike some other dice placement games, you're not going to really be modifying the dice as much as you do in other games, but you'll be placing them around this castle or outside the castle, and that triggers actions. You've got a couple different workers, like these little samurais that go over in this area, gardeners that go over here, and they're all going to be played in an attempt to get you points at the end of the game. The game is played over 3 rounds. Each person and the AI is going to take 3 turns each round, so it plays fairly quickly. The solo game is great because the solo AI turns are really fast. They're all the deck of cards. They don't take you any time at all, so that's nice, but please be aware that it's very difficult. So if you like a challenge, this might be the game for you. So before we get into the full video, I just want to remind everyone to subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as looking at the website at boardgamebreakdown.com. We've got text reviews and links and stuff there. We have a text review of the White Castle, focusing more on the multiplayer version there, if you want to go check out that. You can also find us on Mastodon and Instagram. So without further ado, we will move forward and we will start setting up the White Castle. All right, welcome everyone to the setup portion of this video, and as I said in the intro, we are concentrating on the solo mode with this video, but a whole lot of the solo mode is very similar to the multiplayer mode. So if you're only looking for multiplayer information, you can stick around and I'll kind of call those similarities and differences out as we go along. But you'll see that you've got the board out first here, and I've already got these little bridges that you put together. There should be a white one, a black one, and I guess reddish coral orange. If you don't want to play with the bridges, you don't have to. You could put the dice there eventually, but the bridges make the board look pretty nice, so we'll use them. But for the rest of the setup, it's going to really comprise a lot of these cards that you see laying around and laying them out. So we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start with the cards on the left side of the board over here. And these are going to be 2 different types of cards called the Stone Garden and the Plant Garden, or Flower Garden, one of those. So you'll see you've got 5 Stone Garden cards. You just mix them up, and you're going to put 3 down. So 1, 2, 3, and then the rest of those can go out of the game, and then you're going to grab your Flower Garden ones here and mix those up, and then we'll put down 3 random ones as well. Alright, so now that that is done, we will move over to the middle of this castle here, and we're going to set the cards up that we need there. So first you're going to have this pile of daimyo cards, and you'll see that they match the spot up there with that pattern, and we're going to shuffle these, but you're only going to grab 1, and the rest are going to go in a box. So we will use this one here, so you place that up there on the top, and we'll put the rest of those away. Moving down to this section, you have, I believe that these are diplomat cards that have this kind of indigo background. So we'll shuffle those up, and I will show you There are ones that will have a diamond right there in the left-hand corner, a black diamond. If you're playing solo or two-player, you want to leave those in the box. So we do not have them in the mix here. So after you shuffle them up, I'll place one here and one here. And then the rest of the stack will go there because you will be pulling out more of those cards as we go. Much like the Diplomat, we will take these Steward cards, which are this ochre color. And again, those have diamonds on the bottom left-hand corner for any that you need to take out if you're playing two-player or solo. So we're going to grab out 3 of these, just like so, and we'll put those right there. Then we have these yard tiles. They're two-sided. There's like a bluish and a yellow side. You're going to grab 4 of them to put over here in the yard. So I'm just going to kind of shuffle them up in my hands and draw them out. We'll do the 2 yellow ones first. So flip that one over to yellow. Flip this one over to yellow. And then the next 2 I pull. Put on the green side or whatever color that is. And then the rest of those can go away out of the game. And let's see, then what you'll need for basically the rest of the board is you're going to have your round tracker here. So this elaborate whatever, fish, dragon, koi thing, you're just going to stick up here. There's 3 rounds of the game. You need to also fill in these little die tiles. So there is something special. Oh, sorry, that was my dog in the background here. So you might hear her whimpering. You okay, Penny? She has a tumor in her throat, so she's not in the best mood right now, obviously. So you can all send well wishes and thoughts to my dog, Penny. But moving back to the game, so you'll have all these die tiles here, and you'll see that they match the 3 colors of the bridges and the 3 colors of the die. So what you want to do is first fill in these 3 spots that have this little kind of sideways diamond on it. And each of these spots needs to be one of the main colors. So I'm just going to like kind of look away and grab one. And let's see, this is white, so I'll put it there. The next one I grab is orange, not yellow. And so I'll put it there. And then this white one I'm going to just sit to the side because I need to get a black. And so here's a black. Okay. So then you're going to see these numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth. We're going to fill in the rest of the rooms just grabbing die and placing them there, the die tiles. Now you can't have a room that has all the same colors in it. So if you draw 2 of the same, you just could move on to the next. So this white one I picked up first, we'll put on 1, 2. I'm just kind of grabbing these at random without looking. Go back up here to 6. All right, so see that's a white, so we can't put that in this room, so we'll just move it over to 7. And the next one will be 6. All right, and then you should have 2 left over. It doesn't matter what color they are. We have these 2. You're going to flip them over on the opposite side so you can see what the resource or reward is. You're going to put them down here at the well for 11 and 12. Lastly, we need to roll the die. So you're going to grab out the amount of die equal to the amount of players plus 1. So in a solo game, we're basically setting this up for 2 players. So that's why I have 3 of each dice. So we're going to roll the dice in this dice tower over here. And then when I pull the dice out, what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the bridge. And you're going to have the lowest value on the left side, the highest value on the right side, and the other one in the middle. So I'll go ahead and roll the dice and set those up now. All right, so the dice are in their places. You'll see that if you roll two of the same kind, like those two fives or the two sixes, you just set them up like that. And I'll go into more detail when we start playing about how those dice work. But as far as the board itself, that is how you set the board up, and that would be how you set it up for basically even a multiplayer game. The biggest difference would be you would have more dice over here in a multiplayer game, and you would remember add in those cards that have the diamonds on the side. But in a two-player or solo game, this is pretty much it. So now we'll move to the individual board. So first, let's just talk about the AI player, the clan, as they say, that you're going against. I'm going to play against these red people. So you're going to grab all their little meeples. And so there's 15 of them, 3 different kinds. And I'll show you those. You have these courtiers. You have like a little fan here. You have a gardener that has some sort of rake maybe. And then you have a knight or a samurai or a ninja or whatever with a sword. So you basically just throw those out there for that person you're playing against. You're going to take their heron piece here, which is how we track who goes first. And on the easiest setting, the AI player goes second. So I'll put him there in that second slot. You have this passage of time token, which is going to just go here because we all start at 0, and then a fan token, which counts how many clan points, or basically victory points, which that will go there on beside the 1 because that's 0 as well. And then last thing for the AI is you have a deck of AI cards, which have dice in the little bridge on one side, other things on the other side. So you're just going to shuffle these up and place them in a pile. Where we can like draw them and things like that. So I'm going to put them down here so that you can see them once we start drawing them. As far as your personal board, there is this domain board you see here. I've already got my 15 meeples out. You just stack them in rows. The courtiers are top, the gardeners are middle, and the samurais are last. So you do have to set them up like that. You are going to grab 3 resource trackers. So there's 3 colors. So you're going to place them here on the zeros of your board. So the yellow is for like food. The silver grayish is for like iron or steel or something like that. And then the white is for pearls. So it's basically your 3 of your resources you're going to use throughout the game. We also have the 3 pieces like our AI opponent has, so I'll go first, so I'll put that there. Stack the passage of time token and the fan up there as well. You will also see that I've got out a tray of the money, which you have these silver single value, and then the little oval ones are 5 coins a piece. And then lastly, you have your daimyo tokens, these little orange peel looking things. So those just go out there for you to use. And then the last bit of setup is you do have starting resource cards in orange and starting action cards in yellow. So in a single player game, you're going to just shuffle these up and draw one. So I will do that. So my starting action here is the placing a courtier, and you're going to put that down here on your board. The rest of these cards can go out of the game. And then I'm going to shuffle up my starting resources and draw one of those. So it looks like this. And I'm just going to go down the list here and grab all these things. So sometimes you have a white card on your starting resource, and that deck is up here, and you're basically going to grab this fan and sit it here. And I'll explain what all that means later on. Just know that you're going to grab that card if it's on it. It also says I can choose one of any resource to gain to start out with. So I will gain a pearl, to start out, and then I need 2 coins and 2 of the daimios, which go up here. And then this card gets flipped over and goes right here. And you can see that we're going to start kind of building out a little trail there. And then when we do a certain action, we'll be able to take advantage of those cards we got. So the only difference in a multiplayer game is when you put these out, you would actually put them out in pairs, yellow and orange together, and you would place out one more than the players you have. So if we had a 2-player game, we'd put out 3. And second player, we get to choose a pair first, and then first player chooses a pair. So you have some choices, but in a single player game, it's just random. We're just going to grab like we did and throw it on there. So that is the end of setup. We will take one quick break to kind of move some of this stuff around, and then we'll come back and get into how to play. Okay, welcome back. We are going to now look at how a turn works, both your player turn and then an AI turn. We'll do one explanation of each, and then we'll actually do maybe a full round as we go, so you can kind of see how it works. But the actions themselves are pretty simple to understand. So we won't need to spend too much time on it, but first we're going to concentrate on what you do as a player. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose a dice from over here, and you're going to place it on one of the action spots, which is basically anywhere where you see the dice illustration. You also have 3 on your main board or on your personal board that you can use if you need to. Now the rule about grabbing a die is that you have to grab either the rightmost or the leftmost. You cannot grab ones in the center. You'll see that those will end up moving left or right, depending on what's chosen, but just know that you cannot choose from the middle. So when we choose a die, we're going to place it out there, and depending on where we put it is obviously going to determine what action we can take, but there are some things to think of. So you will see that each illustration has a value on it for a die. So I'm going to show you how this works. So if I took this 1 and I placed it on a 3, because it is lower than that illustration's value, I would have to pay the difference in silver. So the difference would be 2, and I would have to spend this 2 silver in order to use this spot with this die. Now conversely, if I took this 5 and I placed it in the same spot, because it is higher than the 3, I would actually earn the balance or the difference in those 2 numbers in silver. So I would earn 2 silver from the bank. So I would grab 2 silver and put them in my pot, and then I would move on with the rest of my turn. So that is one thing to keep in mind as you place your dice, that it is a pretty good mechanism to grab silver if you need it by placing a higher dice on a spot. And you will see that there's the 4s, there's the 3s, these are 5s down here, and if you go here or here, you can do either action on the side. And then this is the well, where it's a 1, so you can place, say, like a 6 there, and you would get 5 coins plus whatever is listed over here. Now you might be thinking, well, why in the world would I ever pick the lowest number if I have a choice? The reason for that is, if you look on this left side, you will see the lantern icon. When you take the leftmost die, you get to trigger the lantern action. And the lantern action is basically whatever is listed down here, you get those things. So I would get a point because the fans are victory points, and I would get to move up 1 food resource. And you'll see as we start collecting cards, you're going to actually put them like this, and they're going to go further and further out. So every time you activate a lantern, you have a chance to get quite a few resources or coins. So that is a positive for selecting one of these lowest die. The other thing to keep in mind is in a solo game or a 2-player game, once a die is out there, that space is no longer available. So someone could not come along and grab the 6 and do like that. Now, in a multiplayer game with more than 2 players, you can stack a die on top of another, but with this being uh, based on the solo game, we're not going to really go into that. But just be aware that you're going to be putting one die on one spot. The only place where that's not active is here on the well. You'll see the little infinity symbol. As many dice that need to go there can go there. Okay, so the first thing, like I said, is grabbing the die and putting it out there. And then the second thing is wherever you're going to match that color up with whatever slot matches that color and then do the action. So if I were to take an orange, I could not put the orange dice here because there's no orange die tile. So that orange does not coincide with any of those actions, so I cannot do that. But if I took a black and I set it there, I would get 3 coins for the difference, and then I could choose either this or this action because they are aligned with the black die tile. I would do those actions, and then my turn would be over. Same with the whites. If I took this and went here, my only option would be to do that top one that coincides with the white, but I could go there and do that top white one, so you see how that works. On your personal board, you'll see that you place one here and you would get a pearl, and then as you start placing workers out, you will see underneath there are more resources. So the more workers you put out, the more resources you'll get. And then all of these spaces right now would allow you to do this action here, which is to place a courtier. So we'll talk about how you get rid of those cards here in a second. But that's the main thing. So once you put a die out, you do the action, boom, then this die fills in the empty spot. So now there is still a left and right. There's just no middle. And the next player, in this case, the AI would go. So let's put these back, and I want to quickly talk about the main actions here that you see kind of on the board. And the first 3 I would like to discuss have to do with your workers. So like I said, there's 3 different workers. There's 3 different actions that go with the workers and decides how you can place them out on the map. So let's start with the leftmost spots that we did over here, and these are for the gardeners. And you'll see that each card has the little gardener symbol so that you can remember that that is where gardeners go. And the gardener action is this little bridge. So that's pretty easy to remember. So whenever you place a die that is lined up with that sort of illustration, so like maybe there, here, if you paid one of these, you could activate it. You're going to take a gardener, the leftmost gardener, and you're going to place them somewhere over here. So there's 6 spots. It does cost bread. Not bread. I always call it bread because it's yellow, but it's just food. So, I have no food right now, but let's pretend I had, 2 food. I could place the gardener here, here, or there. These all cost 3, 4, and 5 bread, so I could not, see again, bread. Food, so I couldn't place it there. So let's just say I went here. I would pay 2, so you just move that up and down as you gain resources. And then basically what the gardeners do is at the end of the round, at least round 1 and 2, you don't do this in the end of round 3, if there's any dice that are left on that bridge above the gardener, you get to trigger this action. So I believe you trigger the action when you put your gardener there, but then at the end of the round, if there are dice left, then you also trigger that action 1 time, if you can afford it. You see that some of them cost money, so you might not have money. At the end of the game, you also get points. So like this is 3 points at the end of the game. Some of these over here are 5, 7, even 9 points at the end of the game. You can only ever place one of your gardeners on a spot. Now, the AI could place a gardener there. That would be fine. But I could not come and place another gardener there. It's 1 gardener per player per spot. All right. Whoa. All right, so next up, let's talk about the middle of the board here, which is the castle. And we're going to talk about the courtiers, which their action looks like this, has the little castle illustration. So when you use that, again, it's right there, it's right here, it's right there. It can, it'll come out in different areas. You're going to take a courtier and you're going to place them at the gate. And you'll see that there's a little illustration here that says, hey, that costs $2 to put a courtier at the gate. So I would pay this $2. And then additionally, so you see the little dashed lines, you can pay 2 pearls to move a courtier up 1 level, or 5 pearls to move them up 2 levels. Now, if you had, say, a courtier already in there, and I took the action and placed 2 silver and put him at the gate, I could pay 2 silver and move this guy up. You don't have to move the one that you just placed out there. You can move other people up, or from here to here, from there to there. But you'll see when it comes to scoring why you might choose which. But when you move them to a room, so let's just put this guy back. Let's say I paid 2 and I moved to this room. Then the first thing I'd get to do is any of the light colored scrolls, so not this black, but any of the white, I can do one of those actions for free right now. Then I would also get to pick up this card. I would replace it with this card, so this one goes down in my row, and that goes there. So now you'll see that the orange lines up, the black lines up, and the white lines up. And then we draw another card and place it there. Much like that, if you go to the blue area, you do the same thing. You take the card, you get to do a light action for free, you replace it, and you draw a new card out. So the more rooms you go to, the more cards you get, which means the more lantern effects that you're going to end up getting. If you move all the way up to this level, then you get to pick which spot your courtier goes into, and only one can be in each spot. So let's just say I wanted that one. I would activate my lantern again, which is all these things, and I would get 2 food, and then that would be over. So for scoring, any of your courtiers at the gate get 1 point. Each in this level get 3 points. Each in the blue level gets 6 points. And anyone at the top here gets 10 points. All right, lastly, you have your samurai guys. And the samurai are going to go to the yard over here. And the samurai action is the little yard with the flag. So you'll see it here, you'll see it there. But when you take that action, you're going to basically choose which yard to put the samurai in. This costs 1 black steel, armor, iron, whatever, 3 armor, 5 armor. And so if pretend I had 5, I would pay the 5 and put him there. At that point, I would get to do this and this. So that was 3 food, and then I would get to activate any orange cube action for free. Now you can have as many samurai as you want in the yards. There's no limit. What ends up happening is basically at the end of the game, you get to do some multiplication between the samurai that are, say, in this spot. So for every samurai there, it's 2 points multiplied by the amount of courtiers in your castle. You do not count the courtiers on the gate for that scoring, only the ones inside the castle. So it does really help to have both samurai and courtiers because that is going to multiply your effects. So we'll put this samurai back down here. Just a few other things to call out action-wise is if you see this, the heron symbol, if it's a 1 or if it's a 2, you're going to move up your token here, and whoever's in the lead at the end of the round is first player in the next round, as well as if you ever pass over these little sections, you're going to pay the required cost. So that would be 1 orange daimyo seal, but you would get 3 points at the end of the game. So the further up you go, the more points you get. If you see the fan, which is like that, that is just strictly victory points, and you would move your fan up the line there. And I guess the only other real symbol you need to know about is this one. And so if you get to activate this symbol, you get to take any of your personal board actions for free. So that's a nice one because this can really get you a lot of resources as well as activate your action card here at the end. All right, so that is one full kind of explanation of how your turn goes, and um, that that whole setup is really never going to change throughout the whole game. There's not going to be any difference in any of the turns as far as how that works. So you should be good to go there. Now, as far as the AI goes, it's very similar. If you know how how a regular person works, is easy enough. You're going to flip over the first card here, and you're going to look at this card, and you're going to look at the bridge. So first, you're going to evaluate and make sure that that dice is available. So if it is, and this one is the rightmost, you're going to place it in this spot. So we're going to take this, we're going to place it in this area. Now, one thing about the AI is that they never have to pay for the difference. So say this was a 2 and I went there, he does not have to pay $3. But if he plays a higher dice, he will get the balance in silver. So watch out for that. And then also, he is not limited by the colors. He could put an orange dice here if that's what the card tells him to do, because the AI is cool like that. So if the die is available, you place it out there, and then you're going to do the actions here. So like this action shows that he needs to place a daimyo at the gate, or I mean a courtier at the gate, so you just grab a courtier, place it there, and then you go to this action, and he would get 1 heron and 3 coins. Once that's done, his turn's over, and you would take this and you'd put it on the bottom of the stack. And then you would take your turn. Now, let's pretend, you have to move your dice over. If we flip the next one, let's pretend that there is no orange die in the far right. You would flip another one until you basically get to a card. You would keep laying cards out until you find one that works. At that point, you would do the same thing. You would grab this dice, you'd put it there, and then you would actually do all the actions on the last 2 cards that you flipped over. So let's just say we got out to this point until you finally found a dice that works. You would do this, and then you would do these 2 cards fully. You wouldn't do all 4 of them. It's just the last 2. And then once you're done, you would pack them all up and put them underneath. Now, if you draw a card and there is a dice available, but this spot is already taken up, you just put it at the well, you give them the difference in money, and then you move on to these things. So, I don't remember what these were, but we'll just put them back like that. So the AI is very quick. You flip a card, you look at it, make sure the dice is there, and you place everything out there. The turns go really, really fast. The one thing is the AI is very, very cruel, and it racks up points very quickly. So that can be troublesome. So each round you play until there's 3 die left. So basically, each person places 3 spots on the board, and then the first thing you'll do is you'll look at the turn track up here, and whoever's furthest along here, let's say it was like this, because red is furthest along, then they will take over first spot. You then look to see which gardeners are over here, and if there are dice left on the bridge above them, you activate that. Now for your player, you would actually get to do the action. For the AI player, what you do is you look at which round you just finished. So we just finished 1, and if he had a gardener here, he would get 1 point. Now in the second round, if he had a gardener there and a dice, he would get 2 points because we finished the second round. You also need to count up the AI's money and divide it by 3 or 5, depending on if he's first or second. So if he's first, you divide it by 3, and then you multiply that by what round you just finished. So let's say he had 9 coins. I would turn all 9 coins in, divide that by 3, so it's 3 times 1, he would get 3 points. So he's going to be getting points as the game progresses, a lot more than a player does, but a player ends up getting quite a few points at the end. But be aware that the AI player is going to still score gardeners and courtiers and samurai just like you would a personal person. So that is basically how you play the game. So I'm going to reset this quickly, and then we'll play like one round. I'll narrate it so you can see how it works, and then we'll be done. Alright, so I've reset the board just slightly so we can play through a full round. I'll go pretty quick and just kind of narrate as I go. So you can see how fast a round plays, and you're going to play 3 rounds altogether. It's a pretty quick game, especially in the solo mode. But remember that the heron piece up there decides who is going to go first. So yellow, which is me, is going to go first. So I need to choose a die and place it out on the board. So what we'll do is I really need some resources because I can't do any gardeners or samurais because I have no food or blacksmith tokens. So that's kind of a problem. So what I'll do is, let's see. Let's do a 6. So I'm going to take a 6. I'm going to place it here on the 4. So because I used a higher amount, I'm going to a higher value. I'm going to take the difference. So I get 2 coins. 1, 2. Put those there. And then I do the orange action. So that means I can take 3 resources of any combination that I want. So what I'm going to do is probably take 1 pearl there, and I'm going to do 2 food. Alright, so that was my turn, but we will take this dice and move it over here. Now we're going to flip an AI card, and we're going to look, and so the leftmost dice is available. So we're going to take that, and it wants to place it in this room, so we will place it there. Remember, the AI is not limited by value of die or having to pay or anything of that nature, so that just goes there. And then we're going to do this top action, which is to place one of his courtiers in the gate. So we'll place it right there. And then he's going to get to move his little passage of time token up 2 and get a silver. So 1, 2, gain a silver and just make a pile. We'll move this yellow or white dice over there, and then it's back to me. So I've got food, I've got pearls now. So let's see what I might want to do. So what I think I'll do is I'll take this. Actually, I'll take this 4 because remember, if you take the least valued amount, you get to do your lantern. And I'll place it here on this 4. So first, let's do the lantern. So that gives me 1 food because of that, and it gives me 1 point because of the fan. And then I get to do the yellow die or the white dice action, which is to place a gardener. So I'm going to take a gardener, which is in that second row there, and I'm going to place it somewhere over here. Now I only have 3 food, so I'm limited to these 3 spots here. But if I place it here, I could do an action at the end of the round, but that's kind of expensive because it's 4 coins. So I think what I'm going to do is place it here, which costs 2 food. 1, 2. And you'll see the little scroll, which means I can, for free, do one of any of the light colored banners out here. So I'm going to look around, and you know what? I'm going to do this one again. And I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 pearls. All right, so now it is his turn. So you're going to take that card and place it underneath. You're going to flip this over. So it wants the leftmost black, which is available, so we're going to grab that. And it wants to put it in between the courtier and the samurai place, so we'll stick it there. And then we go to this action. It wants to place a samurai in the yard that costs 3. And then it wants to move up a courtier. So I think the rule is you always move up his lowest ones. And if there's a choice, if you have 2, say the lowest ones were in this room, then you get to choose. So it's going to move this one up. I'll just go left to right. So it will go there first. He takes this card basically, which doesn't really do anything for him, but it just removes the card from the game. And then you flip another card over. So that was his action, so that is done. And then I have one more action this turn, which I have all these pearls, so I want to place one of my courtiers out there. So we'll kind of look at what my options are here. And I could always do this. I could do this and pay 1 coin, but get a bread because I have this action. So maybe I'll do that. So I'll pay 1 coin because the difference between 5 and 6. But I'm going to get a bread there. And then I'm going to move over and do the action, which is to add a courtier. So I'm going to take that, place it here, which costs $2. And then I can use 2 pearls to move it up 1 level, or 5 pearls to move it up 2 levels. So I'll just go ahead and pay all 5, and then move it up a level, and let's go with here. So I take this card. I get to do the white action for free, which is to move up 2 on the time track. So 1, 2. If you're tied, you can place it on top there. I'm going to flip this card over. I'm going to replace it with that one. And I'm going to grab a new card here. Alright, so then the last turn is for him. So we'll place a card over. Oh yeah, remember, we want to move that. So it's looking for the middle black die, which is not available. So we're going to flip over and grab another card. Whoa. All right, this one's looking for a middle white. Again, not available. Looking for a middle orange, not available. And we finally have one that is available. So we're going to grab that dice. We're going to put it in between these 2 spots, which is right there. And then we're going to do the actions on the last 2 cards, which would be these 2. So you're not going to do all those actions. You're going to start here and work your way down. So first we're going to put a gardener out. And this little emblem here basically tells you that you're going to choose out of all the stone and flower garden spaces the one that gives you the lowest points at the end of the game. So this one is a 1, so we're going to stick him there. He's going to get 1 time track and 2 points. Boom, boom. Boom. Then you move over here. This is similar to that, but it only wants the stone garden. So you're going to take a garden. You're going to look over here. So he can't place one there because remember you can only put 1 in 1 spot. So he's going to get a 3 or a 3. I get to choose. I'm going to place him on this one because there is no orange die left, so he won't get to trigger that. And then he's going to move a courtier up. So that means he'll go there. He'll take this card, move it over there, and replace with that. All right, so there are 3 dice left, 1, 2, 3. And so that is the end of the round. We can go ahead and put these back underneath. So the first thing you do is you want to decide on the turn track. So you'll see that he is in front of me here, so we're going to swap. And then we're going to look at the gardeners and see who can activate. So both me and him are here, but there are no orange dice. So we do not get to activate that. But he is here and there are black dice left. So he's going to activate that. And again, the scoring, it means that he gets 1. For every gardener, he gets however many points are equal to the round we just finished. So that's 1 point. And then the other way he scores points is if he had more coins, he would get to divide them by 3. and he would get 1 point for every 3 coins. But he doesn't have enough coins, so that is no more points for him. You're going to shuffle up his cards. You're going to move the round track down, and then you're basically going to pick up all the dice, re-roll them, place them back out, hopefully on the right colors, not orange on white, and vice versa. So put those out. And then whoever's first, which is him, would go, and that starts the second round. So you're able to do that again, exactly the same way, and then the third round, again, exactly the same way. The biggest difference in the third round is at the end of the round, you do not trigger the gardeners. But at the end of the game, you basically look at each section of people. So the gardeners, you would add up the fans in the bottom left-hand corner and get those amount of points. The courtiers that are out in the castle or at the gate, you would add up the fans for the rooms that they're in and get that many points per courtier. And then for the samurais, you would multiply them depending on what field they are in. So this gets 2 points per samurai. These get 1 point. You'd multiply that by the courtiers that are in the castle, not at the gate, and you would gain those points. And then you can get some leftover points for any leftover coins or daimyo tokens you have, as well as you'll see on your board, if you have leftover resources in this range, you get a point. If you have 7 leftover resources, you get 2 points. The AI gets no points in that arena. They would just score for the people and then the points that they've already got on the board. And then they also get the points for however far along the time track they are at the end of the game. Same with you. So that's the game. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of how it works solo. Like I said, it's pretty brutal. It usually, I'm not really good at the game anyways. My wife beats me constantly, but the AI, it destroys me every time. I have seen some people mention, like on Board Game Geek, that say they have a situation like this, that they only ever trigger the last card instead of the 2. That does help bring the difficulty down a little bit because they don't have so many actions. But if you want to play it with the standard rules, you would use 2 cards. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. And thank you for watching. Make sure to go to our YouTube channel or the website, boardgamebreakdown.com, to check out text review of the White Castle and any other games that we've featured. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time.